Alright guys, this video is a quick introduction to muscles and muscle tissue and how muscles work. So bear with me, I'm kind of going through this. I'm going to try to make this fast and easy for you. As far as muscle tissue is concerned, if muscles are concerned, there are a lot of different tissue types that are present inside muscles. Obviously you have muscular tissue. Next, you have nervous tissue. You obviously have blood, which is a type of connective tissue. Adipose tissue is also present. Remember that adipose tissue is also known as fat. And fat is found throughout, obviously, muscle. Even in the culinary arts world, when you have someone that's going to grill or a great steak, the amount of fat that's present there is important as far as flavoring is concerned. So these, amongst others, are part of muscles, and they're all important. What are some of the functions for muscles? Well, they do several things. Well, number one, obviously, is that they allow us to move. In that case, we call that mechanical or motor movement. Number two, they aid in digestion. So they move your food in digestion. They're responsible for support. In this case, the support that they supply is capable because of this thing called muscle tone. Obviously, if you think about very important muscles like your heart, they have the ability to move fluids as well. In this case, what's particularly important for us is blood. One of the biggest things, and probably should have been number 2 on the list, is that they produce heat. This is extremely important for warm-blooded organisms like ourselves. This list could go on and on. I'm trying to make this short as far as this video is concerned, but these are all things that muscles contribute to as far as we are concerned. Now, as far as muscles are concerned, there are 3 major types of muscles, or muscle tissues. And these 3 types are skeletal muscle, skeletal muscle is distinguishable from other muscles because it's voluntary. What that means is that we think and we can control it ourselves. So if I move my hand up, or if I decide to go running, which is very rare, or if I decide to lift weights or whatever, also rare, it turns out that those things are voluntary things. I control it. So skeletal muscle, which is basically the muscle that's attached to the bone, that is a voluntary muscle set. Skeletal muscle also has striations that are prevalent on it, and these striations are seen under the microscope. It's going to be important as we talk about the actual anatomy of skeletal muscle, in which we look at sarcomeres and actin and myosin, which are the thin and thick filaments. The second type of muscle tissue is smooth muscle. Smooth muscle gets its name because it's smooth as far as look through the microscope. The striations that you see present in skeletal muscle is not present. So in this type of muscle, you can find it usually inside the digestive tract. I'm going to backtrack on the skeletal muscle. Obviously, it's attached to bones. But smooth muscle itself lines the digestive tract and allows us to propulse our food that we eat down through the GI tract or the gastrointestinal tract. So it's very important as far as concerned. Also lines the arteries and veins and the capillaries of the human body, which is also very important as far as like when we're talking about blood pressure and things of that sort. The last one is known as cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is only found in one part inside the human body, and that is the heart. Obviously, the heart and cardiac muscle is responsible for pumping blood throughout the body. What makes it unique is a couple of things. Is that it's like a nerve cell and a muscle cell hybrid, in which obviously we're still thinking that this is an involuntary muscle, just like smooth muscle is also involuntary. The only muscle that is voluntary that we spoke about was skeletal muscle. But cardiac muscle has these activation sites known as nodes. So you have what we call the SA node, the sinoatrial node, and the AV node, the atrioventricular node. And as a result, this keeps the pace of the heart, or the temper, the tone of the heart in a sense, as far as like the thuds that you get per second or your heart rate. So that's also important. So skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle are all types of muscles that are found inside the human body. I'm going to stop this video soon, but I want to do a really quick review about this. So muscles, made up of muscular tissue, nervous tissue, blood, and adipose tissue, and fats. The function for muscle is movement. Obviously, move for food and digestion support. Okay, move fluids, which is example would be blood. They produce heat as well, which is also very important for us. Okay, it's a big part of homeostasis. There's three types of muscles: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. And that's also important. The next thing about muscles is this, is that we must talk about things that we see present inside of it, and what's there. These muscles are weird as far as like the cells that make them up. So let's talk a little bit about the cells. The cells that make up muscles are multinucleated. Which means that they have a lot of nuclei present. They have a great deal, a lot of mitochondria when compared to many cells. The cell membrane is known as the sarcolemma. There's two M's there. The fluid inside of it, the cytoplasm, is known as the sarcoplasm. What's also going to be important is the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, it's our regular cells. This is the ER, and it has a particular function inside of a muscle cell, and it stores calcium. Okay, so that's a couple of important things about the muscle cells that we need to know, is that it's multinucleated, has a lot of mitochondria. Obviously, a lot of energy is needed. So if I'm thinking about mitochondria, I'm thinking about energy. Then after that, we have a couple of terms that are important. So these right here are just simply terms that you need to be aware of when considering, what's happening inside muscle cells. And muscle cells, instead of having a cell membrane and calling the cell membrane, we call it the sarcolemma. The cytoplasm is known as the sarcoplasm, and the ER is known as the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And we'll go in greater detail with these with future videos. Thank you.